5 reasons why I like Fuji XF27mm f2.8 lens and why I bought it. Hi, it's Peter here, and let's get right into the business. The version of this lens that I have is the Mark II version, so it's the newer version. The main difference is that the newer version has the aperture ring, which I will talk a bit later some more about. But let's talk about the first reason, the size. Fuji 27mm f2.8 lens is a pancake lens and it weighs only 84 grams and the length is only 23 millimeters. I really like small gear. It makes photography a joy. I don't like to carry heavy gear when I go out shoot for myself because when I'm doing something for clients, I usually need a lot of different types of stuff, lights and everything. So when I do it photography myself, I don't want to carry around big stuff. So this combo is perfect. And what's great about this is that this combination is also smaller than my previous combination, OM5 and the Mzuiko 20mm. As you can see from these pictures, the size difference is astonishing. I do have the extra grip on my OM5, but that's because I need some extra grip. And of course, one of the reasons the Mzuiko 20mm f1.4 lens is bigger because it is f1.4 lens, which makes it naturally most likely to be a bigger lens because it's a faster lens. But in many cases, I stop down anyways to f4 to f5.6, so it doesn't really matter what the fastest aperture is. So the pancake lens from Fuji is totally fine, and I don't mind being 2.8 at all. And the second reason, image quality. That's always important, but I don't think it's the most important thing. And I tested it only with the 26 megapixel sensor, so I'm not really sure, or I don't have my own experience with the 40 megapixel sensor that, for example, X-T5 has, which is also a very popular camera in the genre and I'm most fond of, street photography. But I've seen videos and seen pictures taken with this lens and the 40 megapixel cameras, and it seems to work fine. There are some blurriness in the edges of when you're using 2.8, but when you're stopping down, that's gone. And of course, some vignetting and all that, the normal stuff. But the sharpness and everything is totally fine. It's nothing wrong with that. And I've made some great photographs with this. Well, great, as I think is great. I don't know, what do you think? But anyways, there's nothing wrong with the image quality, and according to other people, it can be used with the 40 megapixel bodies too. So nothing wrong with the image quality. And then I already mentioned the aperture ring. That's really becoming very important to me. I've used it in the past when I used manual cameras, film cameras, and they had the aperture ring, and then digital came and it was all the knobs or the dials that you could dial in the F number. But I think I'm kind of getting used to this again, to having the aperture ring, and I think that's a really important thing. It's really, really fast. You just turn the aperture the way you want, and then you have the exposure compensation on the back wheel and your finger on the shutter button. So I got all these 3 controls very fast. I don't have to move my hand or fingers at all. I always have my finger on the shutter button. That's a big asset. I think this is the way every lens and camera should work, that they have the aperture ring. And then the third reason was that it was not that expensive. The price is less than 400 euros / dollars, and I think it's a very good price for what it is. Of course, 400 euros / dollars is a lot of money, but for what you get, I think it's a very good value for money. And if you're interested in a lens, I put some links, affiliate links in the description, so for you to get the lens if you need it. And affiliate links are links that if you use them, you don't pay any extra, but I get a small commission, and it's a win-win situation for you and for me too. You get a great lens, and at the same time you support my free content. Now that legal stuff is out of the way, let's continue with the next thing. But before that, a few things about the setup that I have with this lens. I do have this lens hood and a black mist filter, and let me explain why. Lens hoods are really important for 2 reasons. First of all, they block some light and reduces flares if you don't want them. If I want flares, I can take it off and shoot towards the bright sun or spotlight to get those flares if I want. They are not necessarily bad, but I want to control them. That's why I have the lens hood. And it also protects the lens. If I hit it somewhere, it will protect the lens, the front element. And the second thing that I have is a black mist filter, and that's because I use Fuji's film simulations, different types of film simulation. I haven't really figured out what's my favorite because I haven't really, or I know what's my favorite, but I haven't really figured out how to set up the camera perfectly. But that will come in time when I tweak those settings and see how they look. And they are very analog and filmic look. And when I'm adding the black mist filter, it makes it even more filmic and cinematic look because it will make a slight halo or soften the edges of hard lights. And I think that's a really pleasing look. And yes, black mist filter takes out that digital look and makes it more analog. And that's the reason that I have it. And before we get into the next reason, there will be an extra reason, like always. Perfect for street photographs. I love street photography. I like to photograph the city and, go out and walk around and take some images. And, that's just something that I really enjoy. 40mm is a perfect focal length for me for street photographs. It's wide enough, but not too wide, so I can have a more pleasing perspective. And the relationship between the background and the subject is optimal for me. If I had a wider lens, it would throw the background further away, and if I had longer, then it would be too narrow for the streets, and it will also make the compression too much. But 40mm, I think it's a perfect compression, and also the focal length, the angle of view is quite perfect for me, and I'm kind of used to that. I know when I see a thing, I know where to stand the distance. I've used 40mm so long. For example, in my own 5, I had the 20mm, which is equivalent to 40mm in a perspective or the angle of view. And I also have this lens 27, which is roughly 40mm. And then I have Ricoh GR3X now, which is also a 40mm lens. So that is something that I really like to use when I'm out there in the streets to photograph. And the extra thing, this combination makes me take the camera out more. And that's a really important thing, which I did not expect. And it's kind of like not a reason that I got it. The reason are the ones that I've already said. But this actually was an extra bonus thing for me. I've realized that I've taken the camera out a lot more when I have a smaller combination. And it's kind of strange because Micro Four Thirds was really small. But this is, like I showed you in the photographs, it is smaller. And that's why I've taken it a lot more with me. And another thing is that I really like the look and feel of the images, which has nothing to do with the lens itself, but it is a big part of the whole thing, and the look and feel of the images. And that has made me photograph more, which is of course good because photographing more is good for you. It's just pleasing. I feel good when I have the camera with me. I don't know what it is, but it just feels good. And that has made me, or this lens has made me taking the camera out a lot more. And if you're interested in why I have a Fuji camera, you can watch the video from there. But hey, thanks for watching and bye for now.